All right, welcome to a new look for the monthly Ask the Wizards video. We're just, every month we're just gonna mix it up. It's nice to be out in a tree.
I think the gondola would go
inside the gondola.
Oh gosh, from a hammock,
in a restroom stall. Better acoustics, maybe. Yeah.
We're in the classroom just to make people jealous.
What would be really funny though is if we were in two different stalls, but the camera just showed the stall doors.
And our feet.
And our feet.
and like you just like pass something from under the door.
Mine are just dangling.
Yeah. All right. So what do we got? We're doing this because we are still trying to figure out how do we want to edit these videos? What is the style guide? We lost our video guide for Wizard Academy and don't currently have what I consider to be a good solution long-term. So this is a Band-Aid where we're just going to shoot kind of a little more lo-fi, and then Zach's going to tack on some bits, and then we'll send it out to you guys. But we're still going to answer all the questions. We've still got Roy's involved, and I kind of like the lo-fi, but
it's all about the content, isn't it?
Yeah. So actually, I probably should have told you this before we hit record. We actually sent out kind of an informal survey, and the response back that we got were people like, Zoom's fine with us, like especially if we can invite other people. So
right, we've all been staring at Zoom for a couple years now.
I know, right? Yeah. So good. Yeah. I mean, maybe keep emailing Zach when you watch these, and because we will use your I liked it a little more professional, or I actually kind of like this improv, like coffee talk kind of vibe. So, coffee. But all right. What do we got, Zach?
All right. I'll read the questions. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Feel bad. I don't have a beverage.
You should feel bad.
No, that's expensive.
I can't have the good whiskey. Fine.
All right. First question. The topic in a recent training session at our radio station was how to be in 22 and 23, listing off the top 5 qualities of a radio advertising consultant during these times. I'd be interested in what you and your team would consider to be your top 5. Thanks, Glenn.
Sounds like Roy. I'll bet Roy has 5. It sounds like a Monday morning memo.
Actually, I read the Monday morning memo this morning.
Oh, did you?
And he answers.
He just answers this question. Oh, Jesus, of course. So, Glenn, you just gave Roy an entire Monday morning memo. So you already know the answer if you read the Monday morning memo. So is this just going to be a round of the three of us guessing what Roy would say? Or do we get our own opinions?
I actually have something to add.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Whoa. I don't even, hang on.
Yeah.
I don't even know what Roy said.
Yeah. So you answer first.
Okay, fine. Well, obviously, good looking. Yes. Black V-neck shirts.
Yes.
Some medallions.
Some medallions.
That's 3.
Coffee mugs.
And a beard that's groomed to actually
what do you say? Yeah, no.
Mirror the profile of the video.
Okay, I'm gonna say and in the context, Glenn is radio, right?
Yeah.
So radio advertising consultant means something very specific to him. It doesn't to me. My understanding from being around Roy and you is that radio ad consultants are not just salespeople. They also have to sometimes write the shit and produce and record the shit and find the talent right?
Yeah.
So you're like a stopgap agency who works for the radio station instead of directly for the client.
Yeah.
So you're always having to blend who's the master, right?
That's the toughest part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say, one who listens, right? That's a weird one, but it's just one who actually listens to what the business owner wants and truly hears it, doesn't think that it's really their job to sell the owner on what they think is the coolest thing and work them and torque them and just, but to deliver. So that's 1. 2, well, if they're like you're talking, they better be able to write and not just be a sales guy who got dropped into because he's good at sales.
Yeah.
And then, but man, we're talking about a unicorn. Really good. So a good writer, one who really listens, one who knows when to hold them and knows when to fold them. Because I even here on the campus, we regularly will spend a little bit of time. I mean, Zach and I did this too, chasing a bad idea a little too far.
Yep.
And then going like, oh, we really, or actually, and Zach, it's hard not to see your face when we're sharing the screen. Can we swap back to where I can see you again? Do you have a preference? Okay, good. It's easier for me because I'm talking.
Yeah.
Where we've chased it is when we know that something is not good for a private academy, but the private academy people want to do it. And we start going like, well, I don't know if that's going to be a good idea. And then sometimes it's just a realization that like halfway through the conversation, we need to say, can we just give you your money back? We're not a good fit because this is you guys are going to break this thing. This model's not going to, I mean, we just experienced it recently. This model's not meant to do what you're trying to get it to accomplish. You're going to be unhappy. It's going to fail. We're not built to fix your problem. And what I've discovered, so know when to walk. That's only 3. I don't know what else.
Well, Dave gets to chip in the other two.
Fold them, walk away.
Yeah. That's 4. Yeah. No one to fold them. No, so somebody who listens, someone who knows when to stop chasing a bad idea, like when to let go of a business and stop chasing. Like everybody on the business listings in your community is not your client, right? And then, which a lot of owners don't realize that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, hey, we got 800,000 people in the metropolitan area, but we only got 10,000 customers. That means we got 990, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not how that works.
And so you've got basically listening, basically knowing, reading the room, essentially, writing, and then I think strategy.
Okay. Yeah.
You should understand basic strategy, right?
Yeah. They should understand basic marketing campaign strategy. Yeah. That's
and
4.
business.
I'm not going to go into a 5th one. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just going to be throwing something
Here's
in.
my deal with why 5?
Yeah. Why does it have to be 5? Because that's very
like
Googleable number.
To me, yeah, like 5 is sort of just I don't know.
You picked a number.
Yeah, you picked a number. It's like forcing something into a mnemonic.
So you know what Roy said. Let's hear what you think that Roy didn't say first.
Well, I think the big one is being an advocate for the client and being able to say no to your boss.
Oh,
And you have to have your boss being the radio station. If we're talking about a radio advertising consultant who is working for the radio station, as you said,
right.
Have an understanding with your boss that says, hey, I need to be able to.
Oh, hang on. We might have background noise all of a sudden. Can you hear that, Zach?
No.
Okay,
No?
good.
Okay. So
We've got land guys going, and because they've opened the door, we can
Instead
hear all the lawn working.
Instead of lights, we just opened a door,
Yeah.
which is,
And we're now discovering the flaw in that strategy.
what that does is attract people with leaf blowers.
That's a known thing.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happens.
All right. So just be an advocate.
And try to resist, man, if you can, try to resist just being an order taker and the person who takes the monthly sales promotion that the sales manager put together on a one sheet and always trying to sell that, because then you're not just an order taker, but you're trying to solve the radio station's problem instead of the client's problem. And that's not the role of a consultant, right?
And inadvertently, you'll solve the radio station's problem if you solve the client's problem.
Yeah. They do it the other way around.
Just do that.
All right. What did Roy say? Or Zach, did you have anything to add? Or are you on?
No, I've said my bits.
Okay.
So 1,
Oh, good.
the ability to write good ads.
Of course, all the writing group humans are like, yeah, right.
2, knowledge of how to differentiate a business from its
Oh.
category. You must make your client's business distinctive and memorable.
I feel like that's 1A.
3,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honesty, willingness to accept responsibility
Ooh.
for failure of an ad campaign.
There you
Ouch.
go.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, that one's real. That one hurts a little. Humility.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Courage to say what needs to be said. This is the secret to avoiding failed campaigns.
Yeah, I think that falls into both directions, client and your boss.
Yeah. 5, wisdom to know that good advertising will not fix a broken business.
That's a big one.
That's
I think that
the
falls
when to
into
walk
our
away.
don't chase bad fit category.
Yeah. Know when to walk away.
Good.
All right.
Well, I'll look forward to reading the Monday morning memo, I guess.
So,
All right. Zach, are you reading these?
yeah, I was just moving my little screens around.
How dare
Dear
you.
Wizards, I believe that great campaigns have a well thought out, consistent style. Each new commercial should be like a new episode of a show. I also believe that some clients become bored with their campaign style, even though it is working and making them money. This puts me in a situation where I have to either defend the strategy or scrap it and come up with something new. If I tell them they're wrong, I could lose the client. If I just agree with them, I could end up delivering less results until the new campaign style becomes well known to the public. Has this happened to you? Any advice on how to handle this, Kevin?
Oh man. Okay. So this is a tough one, but Roy, again, these are all like really focused Roy questions, I feel like too. If it was me, you've probably dealt with this before. Say what you would say first, because I have thoughts, but mine are theoretical as opposed to feet on the ground.
Come up with some, there's some good research out there that shows that clients get tired of campaigns long before the public does. Right, long before. In fact, there are some that they're even saying a good ad doesn't even burn itself out the way people talk about an ad burning itself out. I don't know if I believe that or not, but I believe you can leave an ad running a lot longer than is comfortable for the business owner and comfortable for you as the writer, because you've always been trained to get something fresh and new on. But I mean, you think about it, there are some campaigns and ads that have been running our entire lifetime. I think about the Tootsie Pop. How many licks does it take? That ad's still running. The little cartoon owl, like it's still running because it works.
Yeah,
and it works on new generations as they come up. Right. So don't be too quick to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But if the client insists, there comes a point where you have to be for what is.
Yeah. Okay, so that lines up with, so from my outside perspective on this, I would say two things. First, this reminds me of musicians who always are sick of the album by the time it's actually out, because they've been working on it for years, maybe, and then they've recorded it and just pounded it into the ground, and then they've just bled, and then it gets released and they're really excited. But about a month in, they're like, I'm ready to move on. I'm already working on new songs. Or imagine James Taylor showing up and, hey, what's on the set list today? Well, it's like, well, definitely Fire and Rain, definitely Sweet Baby James, and you're going to get sick of this, but the audience shows up and they just, hey, if U2 doesn't play Where the Streets Have No Name, there will be an actual riot.
Yeah.
That will tear the stage down. Right. Like you just can't not play Where the Streets Have No Name at a U2 concert. If you really, truly make the public fall in love with a campaign, Mr. Jenkins style, you can't just ditch that shit without being the band who didn't play their reason everyone came. So, however, if your ad campaign is fun and effective, but not necessarily relationship building, easier to ditch without anyone realizing it. And have the public be like, oh, you changed ads? I didn't notice, right? Because it's effective in the subconscious more than it's effective in the, I was consciously aware of a well-written ad, so I then bought stuff. So that being said, one, I would say determine whether your ad is like a real relationship that you've built, and you can't just throw that away without people feeling betrayed, or it was just a well-written, effective ad, but not that relational. In which case there's less on the line. And so you need to know that going into the conversation. What are you fighting for? I'd fight a lot less for the second one. I'd fight a lot harder for the first one. And then two, I would just have a heart to heart and say, look, what is it that you want? What fear are we attacking here? Because if you're afraid that it's getting stale and people are forgetting you, let's talk about that. And just know at the end of this conversation, I'm going to leave and do whatever the hell you want. So at the end of this conversation, I'm going to either go write new ads on a whole new ball game, and we're going to start from scratch, or I'm going to go write more ads with a little bit of something to make it feel a little fresh, or we're going to all decide that we're on the right path and we're just going to keep going. But so I'm willing to do all three of those. Why are we doing this? That's what I want to know, because that's going to help me know which one to pick and then how I need to write it. So I need to know why, not to defend it, just to know what it is we're aiming at next. And then I would be willing to say, if you just remember, we had this conversation when you first hired me, and when you first got onto the radio. Remember this whole conversation about the chickening out period and the curve and all of that? If we decide to start over, that starts over too.
Yeah.
And so the effectiveness of the new thing, with no historical memory in anyone's mind, it's going to be fresh, it's going to be funny or not, or emotion. It's going to be amazing, but it is going to take 3 to 8 months to work. And so just so you know, maybe the high of that one is a bigger high once we get there, but it's still going to be a slog. And that's not a reason to not do it. Like the hard part of the adventure is not why it shouldn't stop you from going on an adventure, but just know that's what we're walking into. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So instead of like adversarial trenches facing trenches with the client, actually what you're doing is you're hopping in their trench and going, which hill do you want to storm? And then you're helping them be their tactician.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I have one other piece of advice, but it's a shameless plug. So maybe we should hear what Roy's thing is first.
Let's see what Roy says first.
Kevin, I agree with you on all points. You have asked an insightful question. The problem you described is so rampant that I address it in the book that the Wizard of Ads partners use as a reminder of our unifying principles and the processes we use to safeguard those principles. Here is a brief excerpt that discusses the problem you describe. 4, always deliver. I'm assuming that's the number it is in the book because this makes no sense otherwise. Always deliver your work during a video call or phone call with your client. If you email it without an explanation of your decisions, your work will be given to employees and business friends for their opinions and evaluation. You don't want to set yourself up to answer to an invisible jury. Explain your work when you deliver it.
Yep. Always have the hard conversations in person.
Yep. If the final decision maker isn't comfortable with your plan, graciously switch to plan B. As the strategist and creator of ad campaigns, you will always have a certain pride of authorship and want to vigorously defend your decisions. But a person convinced against their will remains unconvinced still. 6, if you are ever asked to implement a truly bad idea, make it a point of honor to figure out how to make that bad idea work. These will become some of your proudest moments.
Yep. I think this all goes back to what makes a great first radio consultant. And that last one, which was like, remember whose team you're on.
Yeah.
You're actually on the client's team, not on the radio station's team. And I know the radio station pays you, but yeah, technically the client pays you if you're in that role, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's like a minimum floor that you're going to get paid this much a year.
Yeah.
But most of your living is coming from whether or not clients pay.
Your commissions. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
So my added thing to that is if you want an answer that's longer than what we just gave you. And from people that live this, Chris Maddock and Johnny Molson are actually Wizard of Ads partners that they're doing the Martinis and Marketing workshop.
Yeah.
And I don't have the dates right in front of me, but it's on the Wizard Academy website.
The beauty of post video editing, the dates will flash upon the screen.
Here it is right here on the screen.
Yeah.
But those are two guys that live this question every day. And it's a 2-day workshop that is going to focus on just those things. Right? It's going to be really, really cool. And I would suggest if you're the radio rep, if you're subscribed to these videos, you're an ACAD grad, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're one of us.
So that's half off.
You're an alumni.
What's
the offer we say? Pay full price and bring them along with you.
Yes. Drag the client who's not sure.
Drag that client down to Wizard Academy.
Take them on vacation.
And go to Martinis and Marketing.
Oh man.
Have this same conversation with with Chris and Johnny,
Mhm.
and they'll come away believing you're a hero.
Mhm.
Yeah. And all the years that you've been telling them this stuff, they'll go, oh my gosh, you've been right all along.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Next question. When doing an uncovery, what are the markers that a potential client has the right stuff? What do you look for? What tips you off that they're capable of growth? Thanks, Stephen Dale.
I mean, I know what I look for. And that's just someone who's already going to do it without me, because that's a great idea. They're implementing it really well. Their strategy is sound. They've got a good team around them, and they think or are hitting these hurdles because it falls into the categories they don't know, but I do.
Mhm.
And then all I have to do is just be like, oh, hey, we just lost if they're basically a badass in all the categories they can handle that I can't, and what they're missing is the shit that I can bring to the table, then I mean that's a no-brainer. I can get in that relationship and know these guys are going to be blown away, and they're going to think it's me, and I'm going to know it's them, because all I did was open a few doors that they didn't know were there, and then put some guide rails, and then sort of helped write the next storyline for them.
Mhm.
But they're gonna, captain that ship all the way through. The people who it's like, we're struggling and I can't figure it out, and we just need good marketing guy to fix it all. And then I get into that environment and I see like shitty leadership, a shit ton of waste of time and resources.
High turnover of employees.
Yeah, and just chaos on the back end,
Yeah.
and really angry employees, and no chain of leadership, and infighting. It's like, nope, there's no good marketing that's going to fix this shit. So that's, to me, that's actually pretty easy. The other one is a category that's like not going to fail. You know what I mean? It's like there's some categories that it's like, I don't care how hard the business owner wants it to work and how smart they are. It's like, I'm not going to get in on that one.
That business
That's
is
a tough category.
Yeah.
I look for enthusiasm from them, that they're engaged with their business and they really want it to grow, and they show that, and they're just frustrated that they haven't been able to make it happen, but they're not tired of business.
Yeah, they're not
right?
weary.
They're not weary, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you took over. I
Yeah.
want to do something else. It's like, is that
Yeah, I'm bored
Yeah.
over this. I need
you don't
somebody
want-
else to take the
And then
reins.
the flip side of that is the market potential, and there's lots of ways of doing that.
Mhm.
That's they actually probably have a pretty good idea of it themselves, but figuring out if they're already like the market leader and head and shoulders above everybody else, they don't really need you.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah.
If they're already kings, it's like, no, you can get anybody to keep this train rolling.
I think you need to have somebody that's got more market share that you can sort of paint a target on their back and decide we're going to steal some of their business. Not in a
not in a scheming way.
scheming way,
But
but
just business.
just there's
Yeah.
just business to be had. There's business to be won.
Yeah.
So,
And you're probably not looking for somebody who just wants to pass you off to one of their managers or something, like, yeah, thanks, go work with them and leave me alone, right? You want somebody who's engaged.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Here's-
what did Roy say?
you're looking for clients whose organizations have an inner electricity.
Yeah.
The owner and the management team seem intent, focused, and operationally oriented. If your client seems bored and distracted, as if they wish they could do something else with their life, run, find a different client. The
Mhm.
client you need is the one who believes in what they are doing and their team believes in what they are doing. Electricity. Has it occurred to you that I'm just expanding upon and amplifying the final point of my answer to Glenn's question about the top 5 qualities of an advertising consultant? Wisdom to know that good advertising will not fix a broken business.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We just wrapped in on the last one. Look at all Roy's successes have been operationally excellent businesses.
Mhm.
All of them, like all the ones that put him on the map, that kept him on the map, that grew him in new categories across the board, no exceptions. They've all been operationally excellent businesses who just needed the magic that Roy could provide. Period.
Yep.
That's these things sound so easy, but it's hard it's like hiring a good employee. Some assholes interview really well, you know? And so it's not easy to do this in one day. And sometimes you figure it out like 2 months in. But the idea is simple. Like what you're trying to accomplish is simple. Actually accomplishing it, that's a different story.
Yeah. Simple, but not
Roy's
easy.
doing in December an uncovery a class and where we talk all about this. And Roy's going to go through here's what I do in a 1-day uncovery with a client. He's never done that before.
No,
He's never shared the secret sauce of a 1-day consulting with Roy.
He has, but it's been essentially closed to the public until now.
Yeah.
And that is that is the Ad Writers Guild.
Yes.
The Ad Writers
that's
Guild.
Where he teaches you how to do it.
He literally step by step takes your hand and it's behind the scenes. And so this is another shameless plug, that we've been in beta mode for a long time on this curriculum. But we just are now opening it up. So it's ready. If you want, Roy takes you by the hand and walks you through from meeting the client from nothing to, growing their business by multiples. This is the class that'll do that. So
it's very cool.
All right. What's next?
Where do you get the info to calculate? I don't know why I'm eating my words today. Market potential for a given product, service in a city. Do you just Google it, or is there a source for these facts and figures? That's the question.
I'm just gonna be over here.
I just saw the answer.
Yeah.
Well, I think I mentioned before. The business owner probably has a pretty good idea if they've been around at all for a while. They're going to know what their competitors are doing. They're going to know it in a lot of different ways, like maybe even by what kind of truck they're driving. But yeah, there are government resources for that. And I just saw Roy has the links to them, so I don't remember the actual addresses. You're going to get them in just a minute. Zach, do you have anything you'd add to that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Daniel's
he's making more coffee over here. Yeah. It's like, this is what happens when you ask a bunch of creatives like the the number crunching questions. I think this is one of those research. This is often the shoe leather that differentiates an exceptional marketing firm from, just somebody who throws stuff at a wall and hopes it sticks, is being able to actually find out like the real hard data, and it takes digging. And I've heard, Roy, we've had conversations in the past about some of those government resources, and the one thing I will say is, even it, and I saw too, we're going to get specific links, but they're clumsy and really, you got to search it. Nobody's handing this stuff on a silver platter. And in fact, this is why consulting firms like get paid thousands of dollars a year, is because they essentially have people in the background with their heads down and books and numbers poring over this stuff and then condensing it and selling it to you, right? So if you're going to do it yourself, I think it's going to take some serious digging, but it is possible.
I would say too, how important is it, right? You can get lost in data. You can just get so buried in this. There are kind of easier ways. If you're in a home service business, how many trucks do you have versus how many trucks does the biggest competitor have?
Just go drive by their parking lot at night.
You've got 5 and they've got 15. They're probably 3 times bigger than you.
Yeah.
And,
but
you can get a good idea on those. And I think sometimes when I've explained the advertising performance equation to people, they get lost in wanting to know exact numbers for market share and share of voice. It's like, you'll never calculate that to any kind of degree of accuracy.
The most dangerous thing about asking for those numbers is somebody's going to give them to you, and who knows what they're based on. So if you insist long enough on needing exact numbers and you only work with consultants and radio people who will give them to you, someone's going to. That doesn't mean they mean anything.
Yep. So Roy answering the question, there are essentially three ways. If possible, you should use all three ways. If you do it right, you'll find that all three sources will give you a similar answer. 1, Google it. The information will be online somewhere, but make sure your source is credible. If the organization posting those numbers might benefit from inflating the market potential, do not use those numbers. Number 2, government tax records by business category. In the US, the NAICS numbers found at, and then there's the hyperlink. Gotta click on that. So here's a screenshot essentially of that. Note the Google number and the NAICS number will typically be for the entire nation. Divide this national number by the population of the nation to get a per capita number. Multiply that per capita number by the population of your trade area. 3, without telling your client why you are doing it, ask them to name every competitor.
I like this one best.
Yeah. Write down every name in a vertical column on a whiteboard. Every time they stop, ask them, can you think of any more? Don't let them disqualify high-end or low-end competitors by saying to you, but that's not really our customer. List everyone. When your client cannot think of any more potential competitors, ask them to estimate the sales volume of each competitor. They will tell you that they have no way of knowing, but ask them to guess anyway. Write down the estimated volume of each competitor next to their name on the vertical list. Add up the estimated volumes. Don't be surprised when it agrees with the other two numbers you found from Google and from NAICS. I have typically found all three numbers to be within about 10% of each other. The thing you will learn from this exercise is that every good potential client will have a reasonably accurate gut feeling about the sales volume of their competitors.
That's why I like this.
If the client cannot name their competitors and genuinely has no idea of their sales volume, run. You cannot make a disengaged client successful. Success takes a lot more than just good advertising.
Yeah, all three of those are great, but I definitely think that third one is most powerful because it gets you two things at the same time. One, it gets you some information, but it also lets the client sort of bear his skill set without being pointed.
You'll find out some things that you didn't expect to. I've done that exercise quite a bit with clients, especially in an Uncovery, because it really gives you a feel for whether they know their market or not. Right? If they can name a bunch of their competitors, they're paying attention. Right? If they just say, "Oh, well, I don't know, I just started this and I don't really care who I'm competing with," that
no, I'm going to be good. I don't care. Competitors are irrelevant. My shit's better than everyone else's.
It does end up pretty accurate. At least you know who the big ones are.
Yeah.
Plus, they always have an estimate too of like I go back to home service companies, but like they know how many tiny competitors there are too, right? There's probably a couple hundred one guy Chuck in a pickup truck.
Yep.
Right. So
yeah. Plus SJ personality types love seeing stuff on a whiteboard, so that's always a win.
That's true.
All right. Next question. Hi, Wizards. I have heard that whoever can afford to spend the most on advertising wins. Is this because outspending your competition on ads will make you outgrow them, or because those who are already successful and at the top can afford to spend more? And if it's the former, how do you help a small business outspend the big businesses they're competing with when they don't have as much media budget? Jim?
Oh man, we need to play that clip of post hoc ergo proctor hoc. That's what that is. That's post hoc ergo proctor hoc. It happened after, therefore it was caused by. And the big brands have a shit ton of money and can blow out all the advertising budgets. Why? Because they know what they're doing. And that's why they make so much money.
They've got good profit margins.
Then they can use that money to sort of run the room, right? But that's not shitty marketing. It cannot be fixed by an ad buy, right? You can't be a shitty business, and shitty marketing cannot spend enough to compensate for being a shitty business or for having shitty marketing. All they do is just have more people who roll their eyes at their ads or who aren't moved by their ads. just way more eyeballs, useless eyeballs on it. Just write better shit. That's literally it. There's only two things you can do when you don't have the money to put on a Super Bowl ad or to have prime time, at South by Southwest or Prime Drive Radio. And that is write really good ads and be operationally excellent so that when the people who do hear you come to you, they are blown away and they start talking about it. And there's your ad spend.
Well, and take what budget you do have and make sure you're not spreading it too thin. Because that's as big a waste of ad budget as just buying too many ads, right? You can just spread it so thin that nobody hears it enough to remember it.
Yeah. My favorite Roy story on that was I heard the very, very first year I was here was how when I heard him talk about his origin story, he got handed this shitty radio station. It was like an AM and it was just, the lowest listener numbers in the entire town.
Yeah.
But, it was like, 2,000 or 3,000, 5,000 people or something like that. And he was like, well, that's, 1/100th of the big stations in the area, but it's still 5,000 people.
Yeah.
So like if I could get, 10% of those people to act on an ad, that's still 500 new customers. That's real human beings.
Yeah.
Like just because it's not as big in scale doesn't mean they aren't real eaters. It's not bots, right? These are actual human beings. And so just kill it. This is the same thing in music. Kill it in your hometown. Don't worry that you can't sell out, compete with Bruce Springsteen. It's not your job.
Yeah.
Your job is to sell out your hometown first. Yeah.
I think that kind of ad math is important to start to understand when you do kind of look at your budget and know that it's small. All right, how do we be super efficient with this? Dude, man, if you're not, you'll get your ass handed to you.
Yeah. At the distillery, we can't afford to buy Austin airtime. It's insane, right? But if I could find a way to reach just the neighborhoods around here, of which there are like 50,000 homes, right? Like, I'm not going to put my money in radio and lose to Still Austin and Fierce Whiskers and all the big downtown Austin guys with a shit ton of money. I'm going to put my money into like, how do I reach these neighborhoods effectively who can come over to my tasting room on a Friday or a Saturday and hang out on the deck and discover that they have this amazing destination just down the street from their own home. Like that's real money, right? And if I was service, it would be a similar thing where it's like, okay, maybe I can't get on KUT or one of the big radio stations if I have plumbing in Austin. I'm not going to compete with Radiant. But the upside of a big town like Austin is there's a lot of effective radio stations, right? You get into small towns and you get like half of the stations are noise.
Yeah.
Right. You get into Austin and it jumps like decimal points every time you do the scroll. And so you got a lot of opportunity to find some radio stations that are like, hey, we will work with you.
Well, and I think, you talk about neighborhoods like this, right? And that's, I know the franchises 1-800-GOT-JUNK and the One Day Wild Painting.
Yeah.
They believe in yard signs.
Oh yeah.
They do them a lot. And, there's only one way in and out of the neighborhood here, right? So yard signs is in the morning.
Yeah.
It says, hey, come back for happy hour at 3:00.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see you on the patio.
Yeah. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Get back here by 30. We'll see you at
right.
Oh, man, that's a great idea.
There's a lot of little neighborhoods. There's a lot of little neighborhoods around here that are like that. They have, my neighborhood has one entrance.
Yeah.
Right. There's only one way in and out of my
and
neighborhood.
there's several hundred homes back there.
Yeah. And so a yard sign at the exit.
Just,
probably the exit.
Be responsible with your yard signs. Don't just forget them.
Man, that's a great idea. I need only on Fridays. Stick a road sign down by the exit that says, "We hope you have a great day."
Yep.
Remember, it's Friday. We'll see you at happy hour.
Happy hour starts at noon.
Yeah. No, it's pretty plausible, right? Like it can't just be like it's 5:00 somewhere. Yeah. Like no, it's gonna be like, hey, it's Friday. We hope you have a great day. We'll see you at happy hour. Crowder
Yeah.
Barrel whiskey.
Yeah.
I won't even put the time. I would just put the
Yeah.
Crowder Barrel whiskey. They can look it up. They
People-
know
Why, yeah, people know
because
what
happy hour is
is.
going to be different for everybody.
Yeah,
A little handwritten thing underneath. P.S. Food truck. Right.
Yeah. yeah.
And food truck.
Tacos.
Yeah.
Happy hour is like when you just your body just knows when you're hungry. You just know when it's happy hour.
Yeah.
All right.
All
So
right.
Roy's answer.
Oh yeah, we never got to Roy's answer.
Jill, ad budget matters, of course, but if it were true that whoever can afford to spend the most on advertising wins, then I would not have a 40-year track record of partnering with small companies to overtake their much larger competitors. Let's take one last look at the answer I gave Glenn at the beginning of this session, because those answers will give you a better understanding of how a young lion can take down bigger, heavier prey. 1, ability to write good ads. That one gets no additional explanation.
And move on.
2, knowledge of how to differentiate a business from its category. You must make your client's business distinctive and memorable. 3, honesty, willingness to accept responsibility for failure of an ad campaign. 4, courage to say what needs to be said. This is the secret to avoiding failed campaigns. 5, wisdom to know that good advertising will not fix a broken business. Your client has to have that inner electricity. Roy H. Williams.
Yep. There you go. Well, that was a good wrap. Is that the end of the of his questions?
That's it. It's the end of the
All
question.
right. Well, that was easy. Rock and roll. That's fun. I like
Yeah.
that one.
Thank you guys for sending in your questions.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah. Send more. We like questions.
and come see us. Look,
Yeah.
Look, a room.
a room where you
Actually,
can sit in a very
Can
comfortable.
I say I really like shooting it like this? And I kind of like standing here. There's a lot more energy. And I like that you can see the classroom in the background.
I think
So maybe we found our new spot.
Maybe we need a better light than just opening the door to the.
Yeah.
to the leaf
Yeah.
blowers.
We'll come back to that.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Zach.
We will see you next month.
See you next month.